Welcome, Dreamweavers. Welcome back to the channel. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And we're going to get right into this. If you saw in the title, if you're thinking about leaving your relationship, especially this is for my ladies and my guys out there over 40. And I think it's more for my ladies because usually they say that if you're in a relationship or if you are in a marriage, that most of the time it's the woman that initiates the divorce. And I know many of you out there, you're in your 40s, you're tired, you're exhausted, you've been doing so much, you're frustrated with your partner, you're ready for an out. You don't even know, for some of you, you don't even know who you are anymore. And this one's definitely for you because I've been there. I've been there. And as I was sitting here meditating, I pulled out the self-care oracle to have this discussion with you. It's called Practical Self-Care Oracle, to have this discussion with you. And the first thing that came out was open up. And it literally says you're being asked to open your heart to another, to let down your wall and trust that they want what's best for you. Your life will open up in a wonderful ways once you decide to open up. Now, what's really interesting about this is that many times we think we're opening up. We think we have the answer. Sometimes we think the answer is to leave, right? Like if I get out of this relationship and leave this person because they're just sitting on the couch. They're just doing nothing as far as you're concerned, right? They're not touching me. They're not. So imagine, we talk a lot about vibing high on this channel, and imagine that within your relationship, you're vibing low like that. Every thought that comes out of your mind is on a low vibrational level. What do you think you attract back from your partner? And this is not about being woo-woo. It is about accountability. And I'm also not talking to the ones out there who are in abusive relationships who need to get out. If you need to get out, get out. This is not for you. You can keep scrolling, or you can watch, because the next time you go to get into a relationship, I think this information, if you have to leave, you're still gonna have to heal, and you are gonna have to learn how to open up. And then Read came out. And when Read came out, what came to my mind was, this says, the more you read, the more you'll learn, obviously, right? But when this came out, it reminded me that when I was going through a rough time in my relationship, and, a rough time could be anything. A rough time could be the things that I said. A rough time could be maybe you cheated, they cheated, and you think it's over. You're not being intimate, right? They're not being intimate with you. You're struggling and you can't figure out why. And when this card came out, it reminded me of something I read years ago. And I had to do a search for it, and I found it I found that this doctor has this PhD who created the book Save Your Marriage, has a channel on YouTube. His name is Dr. Lee Bokum. I'm going to link him in the description box. I think you can download his book. It's not super expensive. You can probably get it off of YouTube. I think he has a podcast, but I will link him in the description box for you. And whenever he preaches, he's helped a lot of people save their marriages, their relationships. And this is even for you if you're struggling and you're in a relationship and you're thinking, you know what, I'm not going to stick this out. We're not going to get married. They always recommend therapy before you get married. And he preaches marriage as a growth journey. But marriage is not just a growth journey, it's personal growth, right? And so many of us go into a relationship looking for the other person to bring into us what we're missing. And, I'm not much about, I don't preach a lot about the twin flame journey because I think that it's not what we think it is. That twin flame journey is a hard one. It's one where you're reflecting back. Let's say you're with someone, they're reflecting back to you the parts of you that you don't want to see. You're reflecting to them the parts of them that they don't want to see. But they need to see and you need to see. And that's often hard. People have to be open. They have to open up so that they can see themselves the way they are, for good, for better or for worse. We have to see ourselves. We have to take accountability for ourselves the way we are so that we can heal and move on, because people will your twin flame will reflect your wounds back to you. You will reflect their wounds back to them, and that's not easy to see. And at the end of the day, it's not for you to heal their wounds. It's not for them to heal yours. You have to go. This is although it's a relational growth, but there's also the personal growth, and you have to decide. They have to decide. And the beautiful thing about Dr. Bokum is that in his book Save the Marriage, if I remember correctly, he talks about being empowered within your relationship, and how when you grow, when you decide to grow yourself, how this triggers growth in your partner. And when you decide to love yourself, the love that you feel that you're missing, you start to attract it from your partner, not by asking them to it's not by asking them to love you, because the more you push on somebody something that they're struggling with, the more they're going to pull away, right? So you're getting less and less. Every time you ask, you're getting less and less of what you want. And like I said, you can read Dr. Bokum's book. It was a great help in re-understanding how to navigate relationships in my life. Even I think it even helped with navigating relationships that were not love relationships in my life, right? Because I think all relationships are relational, right? Like you have to learn how to relate to people. What I loved about his book is that, they always tell you that it takes two to save a marriage, but he tells you making the change within yourself can change the marriage. You can do it yourself. And to me, that was like novel. It was like, what? Like I can change my relationship all by myself by doing certain things. So I highly suggest for my ladies after 40 that you read this, because another thing, and I was called to come here with this, and it's so weird, because I've been thinking about this. And it's almost like I'm like, I feel like somebody out there needs to hear this. We get frustrated with our partner after years. You feel like you're not in love anymore. And we want the fairy tale, right? We want the Cinderella story, but the Cinderella story happens usually within the first couple years of the relationship. It's that fairy tale feeling, and then eventually it dies down because the Cinderella story is not the one that you saw on TV. Like your relationship has ups and downs. You may have time, like, and we think, oh, so many things not normal. No, like sleeping in different rooms if you need to sleep in different rooms. What if your spouse snores, right? And you need to get rest. You might need to go to the other room. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. And we start to when you start to change the way that you look at a relationship and you think about your growth together, it can really change your decision to stay or to leave. It will take time. You will have to be patient. It's not going to change overnight, right? But what's important is that you continue to grow and change yourself, because eventually, as you change, the relationship itself cannot help but change. And I can tell you that firsthand. This is not about me, but I can tell you that firsthand. So I highly, highly recommend that you read Dr. Bokham's book, because I'm feeling that somebody out there needs to hear that. And what Spirit called me to have this conversation, per se, today. I'm going to call it a conversation, because I was literally scrolling through TikTok, and there was a woman, and she has a channel. She's funny, right? She does funny things. She's always making people laugh on her TikTok. And there was one day she got on and she said, "I'm so tired of being alone." And I feel like society, social media glamorizes being alone, but we're human beings, and we are relational human beings. So that means that we're not meant to be alone in this life. You're meant for connection. And so so many times, you have influencers telling you, "Oh, you can just, leave that man or leave that woman, or you know what, you can do it, you can be alone." This woman was turning 60, right? I'm 55. This woman was turning 60, and she was crying. She was just like, "I'm so alone. I'm tired of doing everything alone." And I could feel her pain, because she's 60 and she still looked like a healthy 60. But the other thing is that as we age, our health declines. The things that we used to be able to do, we can't do them anymore. And people complain as they get older in their relationship, that my relationship is not a love relationship anymore. We're just friends. You have, like, to be in a relationship in the first place, you gotta be friends with that person, right? And and I'm not saying that, marital relations, right? I don't know how much I can say here, have to stop as you age, but it's probably not going to happen as often, and you may have times where it's not happening, and we're made to feel like, "Oh, this is so abnormal." But listen, ladies and gentlemen, your hormone levels are dropping, your libido is dropping. That engagement that you had when you were 20 is not there when you're 60 and 70 going into your 80s. But what's there is the love that you have for each other. I hear many women online talking about how they are, I have a good man, but you know what? I'm just bored with him. I'd rather be by myself, because the relations aren't there. And I'm not saying that your relations that it should be empty, but you have to heal. Sometimes it's that there's still something within you that needs to heal, so that the relationship can grow, right? And then the times when you do, then it will be good, right? It doesn't have to be every day. And it's not just doing the do, right? Like, sometimes it's the small things, right? And you'll find that this gives you a fresh past life connection. Somebody with heavy influence from your past life is with you. That's for somebody out there. I've never pulled this card before. I didn't even know it was in here. And fresh start. See, your change in perspective about what your relationship is and what it looks like can change the relationship, can change the whole dynamic. You don't need that person. Doesn't They always say, "Oh, that you need to take your partner into therapy." No, go to therapy yourself. Read this book yourself. Do the things that Dr. Bokum says to do yourself, and see how much your relationship changes. Because for your relationship to change, there's some things within you that needs to change. And this allows you, look at this fresh start. You're being given the opportunity to begin again. Allow yourself to embrace this new life and open up fully to the gift that you've been given. You know what? I'm gonna call, because some of you may have past life connections, that you're here together to heal something. So before you walk away, give yourself the chance for the fresh start. But the fresh start starts with you, whether you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. male or female. You can read this book. He's helped many, you know, and a lot of times we think we need to take, oh, we need that person to come read the book with us. Or we need, no, nobody else ever read the book with me. I read it all by myself. And I made the changes that he recommended. I started looking at things differently. You'll start looking at things differently. You'll start looking at your relationship differently. You're not going to look at it through the lens of a Cinderella movie. It's not, the Cinderella movie is not real. But your life here is real. Being alone at the end of your days, that's real. And you know, when I saw that woman crying, I felt so bad for her. And she was fine, you know, she got back on again and doing her thing, but having a connection, having someone in your life can make a big difference as you're aging. Just saying. This channel is for after 40, so you know, I can just tell you what I hear. I can bring to you a little bit from my experience, because you know, you can't come here and talk to people and not give a touch of your experience. But this is not about me. You know, what works for me may not work for you, but what if it did? What if it can? What if this is a past life connection where you're meant to heal something, but you're giving up before you can get that fresh start? What if you can create that fresh start all by yourself? What if you didn't need the other person to jump in or go to therapy with you? But you can decide. You can decide that you're going to heal. You're going to start to heal whatever's going on yourself. And that may mean changing some things. Like that may mean that all the things that you're doing within the relationship, you're not going to do them anymore. When you hold yourself accountable, you can now hold the other person accountable, whether they want to be held accountable or not, right? Because you can say no when you mean no, and you can say yes when you mean yes in your relationship without leaving. And like I said, this is not for the people that are in this relationship being abused, right? Look at this. Change bad habits and kindness. Sometimes kill a bad habit, drinking, overeating, or anything else not serving you. Sometimes in our pain, in our trauma, you know, we've brought these shadow sides of ourselves into the relationship, and which have brought bad habits, and then we want to blame our partner for the bad habits. Be guided by your heart. Let go of logic and rationality. You know, sometimes that's just being kind. Whether you feel like your person right now is being kind or not, what if you can just be kind? Regardless. And you know, this is not something linear, right? There's gonna be ups and downs, ups and downs. But when you realize that, I mean, I highly suggest you read Dr. Bokem's book anyway. What's the vibe? Good vibes now in the moment. Be in the moment in your relationship. Stay out of the past. Whatever has, you know, we're going to have to decide. Let's say that person hurt you. Let's say they cheated and you decide, okay, we're going to stay. I'm going to stay in the relationship and we're going to make it work, right? Of course, you're going to set some boundaries. You're not going to allow no one wants to stay with a serial cheater. That's not what I'm talking about. But people do have things happen in relationships where people do decide to stay together. But once you decide, you can't keep going back to the past and bringing it up. You have to let it go. Yeah, it's not easy. You know, if you're the one who cheated, they're going to have to let it go. And sometimes, you know, when the other person cheats, so you want to, it is their stuff, right? So you want to leave that with them. But where there's still an accountability that we need to take that sometimes we don't want to take. Like there's an accountability that you will need to take. Like what is it that you're doing? What is it that you're not doing? I'm telling you, read the book. I know some of you are going to be like, well, no, like they cheated. That's on them. Yes, it's on them. That's not on you. You're not responsible for somebody else cheating. And so if somebody else cheats and they come to you and they say, well, it's your fault because blah, blah, blah. No, that's not what I'm talking about. But we need to take accountability for ourselves regardless. We need to take accountability for our happiness regardless. Once you make a decision that you're going to move forward, not to bring the past with you, right? To be in the moment. And that takes time because a lot of times we spend a lot of time. Most of the time we spend it in the past, what's happened. We wake up today thinking about everything that went bad yesterday, which is why I always say it's a good idea to get up first thing and think about 3 things that you're grateful for right now, right? Start your day that way. Decide. You have to decide how you're going to start your day. Yeah, in the moment today. Today is what matters. And if you're working on your relationship, you don't want to be alone. This is something that you're like you stop and you think about it and you think about all the heartache it's going to cause to be separate and you're like, "You know what? I'm going to try and I'm going to see how I can make this work." You got to be in today, in the moment, right? In the moment for you right now. Because right now is what you got. You're not guaranteed the next moment, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. How do you make today the best day ever? How do you make today as high vibrational as ever? And the things that how do you do that for yourself without putting it on the other person to make that happen for you? That's the hardest thing because we feel like sometimes our partner is they're supposed to make us happy. They're supposed to be there. But when you're happy and then they learn how to be happy, guess what? You are happy just seeing each other be happy. I don't know if this is making sense, but I think someone out there needed to hear this. Let's pull let's pull a few tarot cards. See what Spirit has to say. What advice? Spirit, what advice? 3 of Wands fell out and Judgment is at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, look at that. I see some of you that you're thinking about it, right? I don't know. I feel like your spirit team is guiding you to think about it. This journey, maybe there's somewhere you want to go. Maybe you want your spouse. It's like, I feel a hesitation. Like you want your person to go with you, right? But it's like you have to start the journey yourself. Like you can't make someone else go on the journey. But the beautiful thing is that once you start this journey to decide to heal yourself in the relationship, things change. Things change. Don't believe the hype. Your husband, your wife does not need to go to therapy with you for you to heal the relationship. It starts with you because there are some shadow parts of yourself that need to heal. And when you start to heal that, you start to reflect back to them what they need to heal. And if they want to be there, they at some point they're going to have no choice but to heal that. And it's not anything that you're going to force upon them. It's going to be something they want to do. Judgment. There's a chance. There's more than a chance. Judgment in your favor if you take this road. If you're watching this right now, judgment is in your favor. Spirit is with you, guiding you through this. But trust and believe. You got to trust. Stay in your heart space. Be guided by your heart, not by logic, not by just logic and rationality. Logic and rationality are good. And then find out what habits that you have that you need to change. Because when you change those habits, the other person they will follow your lead. And sometimes instead of taking two, it takes one to change the dynamic of a relationship. All right. I hope this message finds someone who needs it. All right, Spirit, let's close this out with an angel number. Alignment. And you know, two fella, I asked for 111 and 000. New beginnings. New beginnings. Alignment. Your thoughts are manifesting rapidly. Trust in divine guidance and stay focused on your goal. You are receiving guidance and protection from the universe. Trust in divine. What did I say? There was divine judgment. There's judgment here to help guide you on this new beginning. And that came out twice. It came out fresh start, right? Here we go. There's fresh start and the judgment card, and then we have divine guidance and alignment 000 and 111. You have the ability to change this. I know it doesn't feel like it. I know you want the other person to jump in and do some things. No, you do the thing. You do the thing. And I'm gonna link Dr. Bokum. You can look him up. I'll link his YouTube page. He's on YouTube also. You can search for him on YouTube. He has a podcast here, and then I'll link his book also in the description box for you. I hope this message found you well this morning. I love you, and let's keep weaving that dream together, right? Bye.